since when do we push back on people checking the government? Like, that's the most American thing to do.
But if it's the way they talk, it's like...
No, what I'm saying is...
You're not going to listen to what I say, you out of here.
No, of course, which is very un-American. I think Americans will reject that. But what I'm trying to say is, right now you have people pushing back to what they believe is government overreach, right? That is happening from the left to the right because the right is in power. There was a time where the governments, where the right was pushing back against left government overreach during COVID. Everybody go in your house, you got to take the jab, etc. We got to stop acting like we don't appreciate pushing back against government. It's part of like our nation's identity. Anytime we think that you're pushing a little too far, you're getting in my pockets, you're getting in my house, we push back. So on a fundamental level, even if you're on the right, you should appreciate the left going, hey, government, back the fuck up, chill out. Now, there's a part of you, if you're on the right, that goes, where the fuck was this energy when they were shoving shit in our arm that they don't know what the fuck it is? But if you can step back for a second and be like, all right, maybe I don't agree with them, but I respect their right to voice their opinion on this, and I fundamentally agree with them pushing back against government overreach. Like, there is something you can connect on there.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, but then when you have the top-down person saying, if you don't do what the fuck I say, wait till midterms, you're out of here, or you're getting fired. Like, they're creating the climate where it's like, I don't want any talk back, and I don't want anybody doing anything I don't say.
Wait till midterms is, I think that's an important thing to distinguish. Wait till midterms is your base is going to reject you because this is what your base wants. No. It's not, well, Trump can't kick someone. If Trump was kicking out the senator of Maine or the governor of Maine or whatever the fuck it was, he would just do it now. He doesn't have to wait till midterms.
No, I'm saying wait till midterms, they can just fund having somebody run against you and kick you the fuck out of it.
Okay, that's politics. Like, why would they not fund him already?
But I think every elected official should speak for their constituents. It shouldn't be, hey, you just have to follow what daddy says.
Well, that's what they all do. That's what the whip is. That's what Nancy Pelosi does.
No, I get it.
But that's where the elected officials have to speak for the people. Because if they do, it doesn't matter how much money you throw against them. If you're actually speaking for your people and what they want, you will win.
Trump got less money.
Trump got way less money. Do you know how much money they threw at the people going up against Trump?
Kamala got the record. To the point that we all thought she might actually win just because of money. It didn't matter.
So now we're in a situation where you're going to basically force government officials to actually care what their people want, not what the special interest groups want. And if they're riding with these special interest groups, all of a sudden the Trump administration is going to go, it's interesting that they're really influenced by those big money donors and they're not caring about what you really care about, which is the cost of eggs and the inflation and the bloating government. That's what we're going to care about. And this is our guy, and he's going to fix that for you. That's on you as a politician for not knowing what your people want.
And calling back to the Clinton thing, this is another reason, even though I find him politically very fucking corny now, Elon, I don't have a problem with Doge. Clinton was 32 years ago. Like when we were 90s kids.
That's great.
How far back was the 60s in our brain? That's the 90s now. You know what I mean? Like it's
been
fucking elections.
Years
32
before
years.
anyone did anything.
We just let it grow and grow and grow and grow.
government.
It's 32 years of bloat. We got to take it out. And again, I'm not even just saying it because he's Indian. It's part helps, but like Vivek being like, hey, this needs to get cut. It clicked with me with like, yeah, I didn't even know Clinton did it, but there's 32 years of bloat that just needs to get cut, and we will overcorrect.
All in agreement.
And that I'm okay there.
Now, Vivek's plan was to do it using the Constitution.
Yes, which I prefer.
I think that probably would have been more digestible for the average, like politically inclined American.
Yep.
Because they couldn't really reject the Constitution.
Can't argue the Constitution.
Yeah.
I think Vivek. I think
quicker
pushed
to do
the
it
wrong
this
guy
way.
out. Yeah.
It's quicker to do it the way Elon.
Yeah.
And
it's a risky strategy though.
Because if it bombs, the Democrats are going to win the next 4 elections.
Yeah. So you got to hope that the first shit you do just like slaps.
I think Trump sided with the money with Elon, and I think they pushed the wrong guy out. That's personally what I feel.
With Vivek.
Yeah. I think Vivek would have overcorrected for sure, but like by the Constitution, can't really argue with it. It's going to be some uproar, but we'll cut some muscle.
I love
and
Vivek,
okay.
but it's hard to go up against
the
Rocket guy.
Of course.
Like it's just he's so impressive. You're like
richest man in the world, bro. Like,
but it's. I mean, if we had to hire, I'm trying to think of a job I wouldn't hire Elon for.
I wouldn't hire him to watch my kids.
Yeah.
You seen the clip of him forgetting his kid at the thing? Just straight walking off, baby.
Son,
Still on
Kim
the
Kardashian
stairs.
done that shit.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Great mother of the year. Kim
There you go.
Kardashian
There you
has
go.
done that.
All right.
I wouldn't have him take your job.
I think F.A. sent
I think
him
it'd make
your-
the pod worse.
Here he is.
Nah, this shit would get
Son,
views
this-
though. If he was on here every single week.
So he just left his kid, bro.
Pull it up. This shit is so funny.
He's busy, bro. He's trying to cut. He's trying to cut. He's like, I got 13 of these little motherfuckers. Keep up.
Yeah, he's trying to make more of them. That is wild.
Look at the kid. Look how far back the kid is, dog.
Now, people did post the full video where, like, he's like, come on, little buddy, let's go. And he's like, woo. And then he, like, goes downstairs, and then he keeps on saying bye. His little homie's going slow. He doesn't realize he got shorter legs. And he's like, oh, come on, little buddy.
No, that's not as bad. That's not as
Yeah,
bad.
you
Okay.
See, this is
Fake
perfect.
news.
Yeah.
This is a perfect example.
I got
of fake
misinformed.
news.
Fake news.
I got
Exactly.
fake news.
Nah, that's fucked up.
I still wouldn't have him watch my kid, though.
Yeah, he's busy. I want you working on shit.
Yeah, dude.
So we're gonna see. How long do you think it is before we feel some of the negative or positive effects of the cuts?
I think short term we'll feel more pain. I think. I just think in general, a lot of the ideas are going to cause some short term pain for long term gain.
I think it's going to be so hard to tell. I literally think it's going to be like a Rorschach. Like, let's say prices come down for
What's
everything.
a Rorschach?
everything's- Like, depending on
That
how,
like ink blot shit where
Yeah.
you see what you feel already.
like, I wonder if, like, people on the left will see all the media, like, they cut this thing, and there's a teacher that died, and then the homeless thing got worse. And even if the price of things are coming down, they'll be like, yeah, this country's going to shit. And then people on the right, let's say prices don't move at all, but then they're seeing all these headlines that are like, everything's great, we're saving all this money, the budget's at a surplus. They'll
Like,
be like-
see, it worked.
And I think that, like, I think media will just manipulate people's minds, where they'll just say, like, whatever the thing they're feeding is.
Nah.
And I think it'll be dependent on whatever they're
So
consuming.
I think it all depends on how the economy is and if people feel like they have money in their pockets.
At the
I think
end.
it all comes
At
down
the
to
end.
How do you make people feel that? Like, what does create a thriving economy?
that. Either low inflation or stimmy checks.
But like, for example, how do you address inflation? My understanding is the way that you address inflation is you restrict or constrict the money supply, right? If there's less money out there, if there's more money than there are things to buy, the price of things is just crazy.
Yeah, I think it's called you're trying to slow the liquidity of money
Yes.
through monetary policy.
Yeah. So the only way to do that is to keep interest rates high. But if you keep interest rates high, it stifles economic growth.
Yeah.
Because you need liquidity for growth. So it's a really fucked up thing.
Yeah.
It's almost like you need to just plunder another country, take all their wealth.
Yeah.
That worked back in the day.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, who should we pretend has nukes?
I think we need to look into.
Canada.
Canada they got nukes.
Yeah, I think Canada
has nukes.
does have big
Trudeau's
nukes.
this whole cut thing was a front, and he's actually building tons.
Where
of
do you think he
nukes.
got the nukes from? His dad. From Cuba.
Castro.
Yeah, that's what
There
I'm
you
saying.
go.
So
There
he's
you
got the
go.
nukes shipped in.
Yep.
So you gotta
Yep.
just keep an eye on him.
Yep.
51st state.
Is there any country rich enough where we could just plunder that bitch?
Yeah, Canada. Their
don't know
nukes
if
are
Canada-
at Drake's house. That's why it's called the embassy.
good point.
We need to get in there. We need to really just take things apart, and that's ours now.
Yeah.
Just a couple meme coins, some rug pulls, like we'll get right to that.
USA coin rug pulls and fire. No, but I think the stimmy check didn't work. That's what caused the inflation. So I think, I don't know. To me, I just remember, and this is everybody's going to be personal. It's like I remember Bill Clinton. I was 8 years old. My dad went from having no job. We opened a business. I was like, oh, in this 4 years seems like we're doing better. And I remember I'm 10, so I know nothing. But I'm like, hey, this guy Bill Clinton seems to be doing a good job.
And that was also during like the first tech boom, right?
Yeah, yeah. Which is maybe the only reason it happened. I don't know, but we just go off what we're feeling.
I also think corporate greed is like it's probably the biggest factor.
It's a problem.
It's like, I think we just so concerned with how the stocks, like
Yeah.
how things are going in with
Stock market.
stock market. And so we're squeezing like the lower and middle class, like as much as possible. And we have no power to say anything back.
So
Like,
because
no power to make change.
if you when you say squeeze the lower and middle class, you mean like by paying them less, we can show more profits, or the
And our
corporation
stock price goes
and then
up.
the stock price goes
And
up.
my responsibility is to my shareholder.
Yeah.
That's,
Not to the
that
workers of that
fucking
company.
line you can hide behind forever.
Some shit I just saw, DoorDash got sued for like 20 million because they were taking people's tips and using that money to pay the wages of
No, that's
the
crazy.
delivery.
Wow.
That's so fucked
Yeah,
up.
that's crazy.
And so when they say 100% of the money goes towards the delivery person, they're still not lying.
Yeah. Ain't that fucked up?
Wow.
I mean, that's what restaurants do, right? Like restaurants, I think minimum wage is like $15 an hour in some states now, but restaurants will pay you $3 an hour
Yeah.
because they count your tips as part of your wage.
Yeah, but at least that you know that going into it. Like,
Oh.
DoorDash was like, oh no, you didn't get any tips. And then just using that money to pay their the delivery people.
Yeah, that is fucked up because we know that the waiters aren't making any money
Big
outside of
booger in your
tips.
left nostril, you got to get it out.
Thank you, my boy. I got it.
Yeah.
So we overcompensate.
Yeah.
But with DoorDash, you're just giving them whatever y'all give.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. And that's a thing. All these corporations are doing similar
Also,
shit like that.
Uber-
Amazon workers, like, they barely get paid.
Have you spoken to Uber drivers recently?
No.
So like a lot of the Uber drivers when they first started, Uber was taking like 15%,
Yeah.
like 20%. Now that shit has come up to like 30, 40 in certain places.
Dude, I'll
Fucking no.
sometimes I'll ask an Uber driver, what'd you get for this? And it will be less than half of what I paid. Like considerably less.
Wow.
Like $6 for a $25 Uber or whatever.
So basically what they did is they lost money.
Yeah.
You know, to gain market share.
Yeah.
And that is the strategy of these like tech businesses now. Or like maybe businesses in general now. But so they don't have to show profit at all. And they'll lose money as long as the stock is cooking.
Yeah.
But what happens is, so what you're saying is that all these people that are driving are eventually going to go, you know what? I got to now work 80 hours a week to
Yeah.
make what I used to make driving a taxi 40 hours.
Yeah.
Or 60 hours, whatever the fuck they would do.
Yeah.
And they got no voice. They got no lobbyists.
Yeah, they have no lobby, they have no health insurance.
And I guess it's not a monopoly. There is Lyft, but you know, Lyft is also going to cook you as well.
That's the airline shit too, where it's like, y'all pretend you're competing, you're not. There's a certain level below which you know you're not going to go, and this is what it is.
Yeah.
It's like a
They're both in cahoots. It's like, yo, let's just keep these prices this way.
oligopoly or whatever it's called.
which
It's
is
like you guys
technically
control
illegal,
everything.
but
Yeah.
it's going on.
How are you going to prove it?
Yeah. Yeah. And then you can imagine some driver has been out of the workforce for 4 years, 5 years, immigrant, doesn't have work experience or whatever. Like, where else is he going to go?
Where else?
So, like, yeah, I'll just eat it.
Yeah.
And like, even partly with my business, I see that. Like, I made it a point to like overpay because I've always been in production, and I'm like, you know what? Like, let me change things that bothered me back in the day.
Yeah.
And that does stifle growth. Like, because I pay my employees really well, I can't open as many studios as I would like to. I have to wait till we, you know, build it up, and now we can. So it's like, I see what would motivate a business owner to pay less because I can grow my shit way faster. But at the same time, it's like, you just have to have zero empathy for people, and that shit sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easy for me. I don't know.
And then the people with no empathy, like, rise to the top.
Yeah.
True.
You know what I mean?
I know.
Like, all these, like, corporate CEOs are just, like, cutthroat. And they're like, yeah, I'm good.
I'm fine. I can sleep at night. So I'm good on that.
Yeah. But yeah.
And also you get better work. I think
Yeah.
when people feel,
that's it.
you know, like they're properly compensated,
Yeah.
you know, they build their identity around the job. It's hard to build your identity around a job where you feel taken advantage of. You know,
But if you create the job where they don't have to have an identity, it's like an assembly line and people just come in and you're like, all right, you don't like it?
Yep.
see you later.
Yeah.
If you make them easily
Uber.
replaceable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uber, Amazon, all these places.